This woman tried to seduce the MC just to get some food, pulling out all her best sexy poses. But the MC, who had been killed by this very woman in his past life, didn't fall for it at all. Instead, he casually covered her seductive photos with his foot. Chronicles of the Polar War, Part 2. People in the online group kept protesting against the property management because the accumulated snow outside had not been cleared. They complained about their dwindling supplies, fearing they wouldn't be able to go out and buy more. Meanwhile, the management couldn't do much either due to the extreme cold. Eventually, a man named Zhang urged everyone to stop blaming each other and take action. He encouraged them to clear the snow together. While some refused, many others agreed with Zhang's proposal. Hanfeng, who had left the group chat, suddenly received a message from Yuna. She asked about his whereabouts and subtly tried to take advantage of him by asking him to buy her food. She even sent a seductive photo to persuade him. Disgusted, Hanfeng immediately stomped on the image on his phone. It had been 3 days since the snow started falling. The temperature outside had dropped to -20 degrees Celsius, but they still had internet access. People spent their time at home watching videos. Hanfeng was no exception. He had been watching dancing girl videos. He realized that aside from food, keeping himself entertained was equally important, especially since he had an injured leg. While watching videos, Hanfeng accidentally came across a clip of a doctor treating a patient who had jumped from a building. A sudden idea popped into his mind. He tried using the green light in his hand to heal his leg, but nothing happened. Not long after, Hanfeng fell asleep. In his dream, he was riding a sheep while birds with sheep heads flew above him. Suddenly, he fell off and accidentally hurt his leg. A small sheep approached and licked his wound. When Hanfeng reached out to pet it, the sheep glared at him angrily, then wrapped his injured leg with its tongue, emitting a green light. Hanfeng woke up with a scream, only to see a green light glowing from his injured leg. When he removed the bandage, his wound had completely healed. Could it be that the green light healed me in my sleep? Still curious, he took a knife and cut his hand. The moment he activated the green light in his palm, his wound instantly vanished. Meanwhile, outside, people were working together to clear the snow. Zhang Xueyu was among them, cheering everyone on. Uncle Liu spoke with Zhang, mentioning a young man who had bought large amounts of supplies, as if he were moving houses, just days before the disaster struck. It was as if he had been preparing for a long winter. Zhang tried to stay optimistic, saying the guy might have just been relocating. But Uncle Liu brought up something else. He had also seen gasoline tanks and a fireplace. It didn't make sense for someone who had just moved in to prepare all that. As the Jin twins reported that they had finished clearing the main road, a man suddenly appeared behind them. A moment later, the man, Wu Kuanyu, was hit by a snowball thrown by Liu Yan and fell to the ground. As they bickered, Zhang Xueyu reminded them not to fight and to get ready to go to the supermarket for supplies. Uncle Liu once again asked Zhang Xueyu what he thought of the situation. Zhang simply responded that this was just an ordinary snowstorm and that everything would return to normal soon. But if someone really has all those supplies, isn't that a good thing for us? Uncle Liu laughed and agreed. Then, they prepared to head to the supermarket. Meanwhile, a warm light glowed from one of the rooms. It was Hanfeng's place. He was sleeping soundly, surrounded by an abundance of food and drinks. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. His weapon order had finally arrived. Brother Li personally delivered it to his doorstep. He also thanked Hanfeng because, thanks to his warning, they had managed to stockpile enough food. He also shared some shocking news. The largest supermarket in their district had been emptied overnight. Hanfeng was stunned. After Brother Li left, Hanfeng couldn't help but wonder, how could they empty out an entire supermarket in just one night? If this were a comic, there would be someone with the ability to transport things into another dimension. Could someone like that exist here too? After all, Hanfeng himself possessed an inexplicable power. Determined to understand his abilities, he began experimenting. However, he wasn't always successful in using his powers. Only 1 out of 10 beans sprouted, and all his attempts at transforming canned meat failed. After many tries, Hanfeng experienced repeated failures. But in the end, he finally had some success. The more he thought about it, the more familiar the energy flow felt. It was just like the rhythm game that had been popular in the past. When Hanfeng tried matching the tempo, the bean immediately sprouted successfully. Next, he applied the same theory to meat. But unlike beans, which turned into stone when the experiment failed meat would turn into a disgusting black liquid. Hanfeng carefully attempted to merge meat and beans, following the rhythm precisely. But suddenly, the black liquid splattered all over his face. After countless failures, only one piece of meat remained. Concentrating, he tried again. This time, the meat doubled in size. Now, Hanfeng understood how to use his ability properly, but he was too exhausted to continue experimenting. On the 3rd day of the blizzard, the government announced that due to the worsening conditions, power and network services would experience some disruptions. After this announcement, the group chat of the apartment residence where Han Feng lived was immediately filled with protests. As panic spread, Uncle Liu spoke up, telling everyone not to believe the news so easily. He argued that if everything was truly under control, they would have already received aid. He also shared information from a friend about armored vehicles and tanks moving toward the city. This could only mean one thing: war was about to begin. Hearing this, Zhang Shuiyu also stepped in. If what Uncle Liu said was true, then they needed to start helping each other, as many residents were already running low on food due to the lack of information. Zhang Shuiyu even offered to donate half of his food supplies, inviting those in need to come to him. Despite this, some residents hesitated. Wu Kuanyu supported Zhang Shuiyu's proposal and asked for Li Hyuna's opinion. Caught off guard by the question in a public chat, Hyuna grumbled but quickly found a way to avoid responsibility. She claimed that she also didn't have enough supplies, and as expected, her devoted followers quickly defended her. Despite this, many residents stepped forward to participate. In the end, Zhang Guiyu decided to form a temporary emergency committee to distribute aid. He took the role of leader and appointed several people to assist him. Han Feng, who had only been observing, immediately recalled something about these so-called committees. He knew that, in reality, they were only looking for a way to seize supplies from others. On the 5th day, the temperature had now dropped to -40 degrees Celsius. The snow was getting thicker, and almost all heating systems had broken down. Even under blankets and in front of fireplaces, people were still shivering from the cold. Meanwhile, Han Feng was busy killing zombies in his game, enjoying his abundant food supply in a warm room. Suddenly, he received a call to join the efforts to clear the snow outside. Annoyed but not wanting to draw suspicion or conflict with his neighbors, Han Feng reluctantly joined the snow-clearing efforts. When they reached the lobby, they saw that the snow had piled up almost to the height of the door. Han Feng and several other men tried to force the door open. As soon as they succeeded, a gust of freezing wind rushed in. Just as everyone was starting to despair, Li Zi suddenly appeared, mocking those who were shivering from the cold. With a deep breath, he dramatically attempted to break through the snow with brute force. But a moment later, they heard him screaming for help. People quickly pulled him back inside, revealing Li Zi, nearly frozen to death. They hurriedly shut the door again. Han Feng provided first aid to Brother Li and suggested they go to the parking lot to check in for attendance, as this blizzard was not something humans could simply deal with. In the parking lot, Zhang Shuiyu reassured everyone and said they should wait for the blizzard to subside before trying to clear the snow again. He also thanked those who had contributed donations. Hearing this, the gathered residents became more optimistic, believing they could get through this. But Han Feng, knowing the harsh reality, remained silent. At that moment, Han Feng spotted the nurse who had helped him before, Jin Yue. As she nearly slipped, Han Feng instinctively caught her. For a moment, their eyes met. When Jin Yue realized it was Han Feng, she immediately asked about his leg. Han Feng quickly made up an excuse, saying that he had always had a fast recovery rate since childhood. The naturally gullible nurse believed him without question. Long story short, Han Feng helped her carry medical supplies, and during their conversation, they got to know each other better. At that moment, Li Hyuna, standing behind Han Feng, suddenly called out to him and began flirting. Seeing this, Jin Shui quickly stepped away, not wanting to interrupt them. Li Hyuna then asked about Han Feng's food supplies and requested that he share some with her. Hearing such a request from someone who had once betrayed him, Han Feng, with a cunning intent, decided to tease her instead. He told her that he would give her some leftover food if she agreed to stay in his room for a few days. Li Hyuna, who only wanted to take advantage of Han Feng, quickly made an excuse. If you just want to chat, we can do it online. Hearing this, Han Feng turned and walked away. But with her food supply completely depleted, Li Hyuna refused to give up on manipulating her target. She claimed that her feelings for Han Feng were sincere and that she didn't want anyone to think she was only using him. With a sorrowful expression, she asked for time to consider Han Feng's offer. Upon hearing this, Han Feng appeared happy. But deep inside, he was disgusted by her pathetic act. After thinking about it, he realized he didn't need to seek out Li Hyuna for revenge. He simply needed to sit back, enjoy his food, and wait for her to come crawling to him, likely with the very guy who had once beaten him to death. Han Feng then promised that he would send some food to Li Hyuna's place tomorrow. Hearing this, Hyuna quickly walked away, a sly smile forming on her lips as if she had just ensnared her prey. Watching her leave, Han Feng simply smirked. After 2 days, the temperature outside had become even colder. It was so freezing that even the walls and windows had started to ice over. Li Hyuna's messages kept flooding Han Feng's phone, demanding the food he had promised her 2 days ago. Han Feng, who was enjoying his meal, completely ignored her messages. Meanwhile, Hyuna looked frustrated and starving. This video ends here, but the story isn't over yet. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss the next part. Your support means a lot and helps this channel grow. If you have any suggestions or feedback, let me know in the comments. I want to create even better videos for you. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.